Greetings, this is David the Real Med White, and this November has brought the elites full force against NoFap. It's actually kind of insane. We have seen many disinfo articles about how masturbation is healthy for you, and even an article from Psychology Today where they claim that they argue that you should masturbate more because if you masturbate more, you become egalitarian, you become a feminist if you masturbate more. And isn't that great? Isn't it amazing to be a feminist? It's not. And so we want to stop that. We want to stop cooming. We don't want to become mindless robotic zombies that masturbate every single day 5 times per day. We don't want that. And so this month is a great opportunity for us to practice a form of asceticism. And this video is going to be primarily focusing on tips and tricks for you to survive this month and the subsequent months afterwards, and really develop a discipline and fix your own life and to stop cooming. So let's get on with the tips on how you can stop cooming. I gotta stop saying this word all the time. The first tip, and I think the most important tip for you to consider, is reorienting your goals. What do I mean by reorienting your goals? Now, NoFap is something I completely support. I think it's a great thing. Not November. It's a great thing. But the issue with that is a lot of people that take these challenges. The problem with taking those challenges is that they make not masturbating the end goal itself. You need to first ask yourself, why do I want to stop masturbating in the first place? What is my aim? You need to understand what your aim is. And when you make not masturbating the end goal, you're going to commit a lot of different mistakes that will lead you to masturbate, right? That will lead you to PMO. And when you think about it, when you start pondering on what your end goal is, you will understand that the end goal is desexualizing your mind. How does one desexualize their mind? How does one focus on this aspect and truly heal themselves from the coomer curse? Well, the best way I can explain how this works is via an analogy, and this analogy is already written there, but it's basically that think of it as if it's a fire, right? Sexual urges are like fire. If you keep feeding the fire, it will eventually become uncontrollable. So if you keep on feeding your urges, and masturbation is not the only way you do that. If you keep feeding your urges, you will eventually end up masturbating. Bearing that in mind and considering the fact that masturbation is you consuming all of your pent-up sexual frustration, how does one stop feeding sexual stimulus to their own mind, to their own brain, to their own soul, to their own body? And I will say 99% of the people, 99.9% of the people that struggle with masturbation do this for sure, is that they think of women purely in sexual ways, right? They look at women purely in sexual ways. And the best example I can use is if you're walking down the street and you look at a woman, if the first thing you do while you're scanning the woman is check out her breasts or her butt or her vagina even, or her legs or anything sexual, well, then you have diagnosed the problem. If that's the first thing that you do, there you go. That's your problem. You need to stop doing that. You need to stop feeding that, because as I mentioned before, if you entertain the temptations, if you entertain your lust, you will just develop sexual frustration. And the Holy Fathers themselves say, what do they say? Run away from temptations. You should always run away from your temptations. So if you get a sexual thought, run away from it. If you catch yourself scanning women and sexualizing them in your mind, do anything that you can do to prevent them. If your weakness is just looking at women and you instantly sexualize most of them on the street because they dress scantily or whatever, then don't look at them. Try not to look at them. Just look at something else. And as I mentioned before in the analogy, when you stop feeding your sexual urges, there is less things to be sexually frustrated about. So the urges are still going to be there. The fire is still going to be there. But it's not going to be as violent as you're accustomed to. And I can guarantee you that once you develop this technique, once you develop this as a practice, once you constantly run away from sin and from lustful temptations, it will make your No Nut November and your overall NoFap journey that much easier. I can guarantee you that 100%. Now you can enrich your No Nut November experience by practicing some form of asceticism as well in order to help you out. And there are many different forms that you can use it. One of them is through prayer. Every time you're doing your morning and evening prayer, you can ask God, you should ask God every single day in a humble way that he helps you out in your journey. One other tip that I can give you is regarding prayer is every time you feel tempted to commit the sin of lust, basically to commit the sin of masturbation, you can do the Jesus prayer constantly over and over and over until the temptation goes away, right? So you can defeat your temptation through prayer. Another thing that you can also do is if that doesn't work, or if you don't feel like doing that, is you can do gospel readings. Every time you feel temptation, you can read the gospel of your choice. You can read Matthew, you can read John, you can read Mark, you can read Luke, you can read whatever gospel that you want to. I personally seen in some places where reading the gospel does help people out with their addictions, and this could be one of those methods. To summarize and to recap this whole video, reorient your mindset. Ask yourself why you want to stop masturbating. Desexualize your mind, and as always, never stop asking God for help. Ultimately, it is by His grace that you are going to succeed. No Nut November, and just keep praying. And thank you all for watching. Hopefully I helped some of you guys out in this very important month. I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you all.